Welcome back to The Truth Hurts, where we expose corrupt politicians and lying corporate media. I'm Jake Duesenberg, your host. We're broadcasting live from Roseville, Minnesota, in the belly of the beast here in this liberal zombie apocalypse we call Minnesota. Joining me today is none other than Mr. Mega Jesse. How you doing there, buddy?
I'm doing good. Yeah, we got a lot of interesting stories to get to today, so excited to be here.
Where do you rank this stuff on interesting? Like, I thought today's show was hard to put together, and some days it's not, and sometimes the ones that are hard to put together become the best shows we do.
Yeah, sometimes, and yeah.
See, it's just becoming a line now. It's like, do we have interesting topics today? Oh, let me go through the list. Protestors in DNC headquarters in Washington attack Capitol protesters. Protesters confront Trudeau in Canada. By the way, communist country up there. Ben Shapiro's feuding with Candace Owens. We got Newsom cleaning up San Francisco of the homeless to roll out the red carpet for Xi Jinping. Xi Jinping. Why can't I say that this morning? China's leader. Mysterious flash and boom over Bemidji, Minnesota. If you don't know where that's at because you're not from Minnesota, or you are from Minnesota, you have no idea where that's at. Don't worry about it. It's like 4 hours north of Twin Cities.
Yeah.
But mysterious.
You don't gotta know about it.
What's that?
You don't got to know about Bemidji.
I forgot to introduce Mr. Deep State himself, Dawson. I apologize. Whose high school rival is Bemidji because you're from Detroit Lakes.
Yeah, screw Bemidji.
Allegedly.
They deserve the flash and bang up top. Whatever happened there.
Well, we don't know what it is. We'll get into that story. This hockey player from Minnesota died over in Great Britain playing hockey. There's an interesting thing to the story. We'll get into that. You put on the list Kid Rock confronts Bud Light, and Dawson didn't know who Kid Rock was. So before our
that's
show,
unbelievable. He's an American hero.
Okay,
he's on the list.
Well, I was able to show him a brief history of his music. And maybe this Fulton County story that's very fascinating. I don't know. We do have a lot of interesting topics. Sorry to bust your balls on that there, Jesse.
I think so.
All right,
we're
first
good to go.
First story. DNC headquarters is was it? Should I just play the part of what the Democrats did on J6? DNC headquarters was attacked in a clear insurrection to overthrow the major leading political party in Minnesota or in the United States last night.
Yeah.
And violent clashes with the Capitol Police. Well, that definitely did happen, right? Let's go to this video. This is this was at roughly 8 o'clock sometime Eastern, so 7 o'clock our time. This is outside the DNC headquarters in Washington, D.C. All right, so there we go. We got clips from NBC News. This happened last night. Violent clash with police. I think, just like anything, reports come out one thing. It was initially reported 6 police officers were injured. I don't know if that story still sticks here at this time, but definitely injuries. Both sides and arrests were made. I mean, you look at what we've been hearing from the left for 2.5 years after January 6th about the violent clash with Capitol Police. And by the way, we all here on this set, we think that they way overblew January 6th, but definitely should have prosecuted the people that actually attacked the Capitol Police. I don't know anyone that's arguing that was a good thing.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Only crazies think that it's okay to use violence for their political means. And, it's very obvious in the video that we just showed there that these protesters were attacking the police there, and the police were using all those shields to try to push everybody back. And it's funny, some of these protesters, they're shocked when the police start shoving them and everything. What do you think's going to happen when when they're telling you to back up and you're not listening. Of course, they're going to shove you. So it's pretty interesting to see that the hypocrisy of the left in this kind of situation, because, like you said, January 6th, they blow it up. They say it's the end of our democracy when it happens to them. When it's their protesters that are out there, complete silence. I haven't seen the Democrats really calling it out. And what's shocking to me also is that there's not these Democrats out there calling for a ceasefire. It's you'd think that especially the radical leftists, the progressives that are in the Congress, that are in the Senate, you think it'd be pretty easy for them to call for a ceasefire. And also, let's be honest, calling for a ceasefire isn't going to make it happen. Israel and Palestine are going to continue the war. Hamas and Israel are going to continue to fight. But you'd think that the standard line for an American politician, it would be obvious and clear to call for a ceasefire. And it's so shocking that all these politicians are drawing the line in the sand, that they're unwilling to call for something that simple.
Dawson, will you do me a favor? Will you stick your head out the door right now? I have no idea what noise I'm hearing, but it's like, put the camera on me here before you go. Like, this is a soundproof studio, and I'm hearing like this huge. Do you feel that rumbling and stuff?
I'm not really hearing anything.
Oh, it's like deep rumbling. I'm like, what the hell is going on out there?
Huh?
Do you see anything? Nothing out of the ordinary?
Nobody out there.
Weird.
Is it a loud flash and bang?
No.
Yeah.
No. I don't know if someone's in the extra room or what. Was it?
Lights
No?
are off.
Interesting. Maybe there's a big truck that is doing something outdoors.
Maybe.
Because this is a very soundproof studio, so like all I'm doing, I'm feeling the shaking.
We can't hear it on.
I assume they wouldn't, but I'm just like I'd like to know what's going.
Yeah.
You hear that?
I heard that too, yeah. But Brad Ganser says you have voices in your head. That's what he's saying in the
Shut
comments
up.
there.
You know what? Brad Ganser, can we ban him? Is this possible? Can we ban him?
Yeah.
Insurrection at A4L. Yeah, maybe our headquarters is under attack. Something's going on out there. I can't tell. Anyhow, by the way, please feel free to comment here. We're not going to have conclusions to a lot of these stories that we're bringing up today. I don't know. I still don't know what the boom is outside of Bemidji. I'm clearly hearing voices in my head, according to Brad Ganser. Although now Jesse hears it. So there you go. You got two of us. But we don't have conclusions. We want to hear from you guys on all these topics. So thank you guys for joining us in the comments. Base Minnesota says insurrection at A4L. That's just so good. By the way, William Beck reading our comments today. Actually, no, he can't read it. He's silenced. Sorry, William. Mr. DeSantis 2024. Razzle Dazzle says stay focused, Jake. I love it. Tucker says they were in D.C. for the premiere of Police State. Yeah, I can't wait to see that. 2 documentaries come out today, Police State and Liz Collins' documentary, The Fall of Minneapolis, which I had a preview. I got to see that on Tuesday night, which is very fascinating. Better lock them up forever, too, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot says. Great screen name. I love that.
Exactly. I mean, the Democrats had one standard of justice for the January 6th people. They're locking them up, sending them to prison, even people who weren't even there.
Yeah.
So they're taking this to a whole new level. When there's people like the leftists in those protests who are actually violent, who actually want to try to storm the Democratic Party headquarters. I mean, these people are nuts. That's not how you achieve power, and it doesn't do anything. All it does is, it reinforces people's thoughts when they see crazies out there doing stuff like that. It just makes people say, well, I don't want to be associated with anybody like that.
But see, here's the funny thing is, it's like, people don't know what to call them. Pro-Palestinian protesters, Hamas protesters.
Yeah.
But what they're going by is ceasefire protesters. I'm like, well, I'm for ceasefire, which is crazy. Today, we can't say that ceasefire is a fringe opinion.
Yeah.
You see that? You can't be for ceasefire. How can you be for ceasefire?
And that's what I was saying. Like, you look at someone like John Fetterman. He's this progressive. He's way out there on all of these crazy issues. He supports mutilating children, but he can't call for a ceasefire.
Right.
It's like, what is going on here? I think the only person who has done it is in the Senate is Dick Durbin. Out of Illinois. He's no champion. He's no anti-war guy. Right. So he's the only one that can call for a ceasefire. It doesn't make any sense to me. You'd think that even for public, just for your own public image, that these Democrats would be calling for a ceasefire, but they're all locked into the bank with AIPAC and Israel. That's how it goes.
Tucker says, speaking of ceasefire, the Daily Wire is imploding over this war. Shapiro has basically told Candance to quit. Yeah, we're going to get into that story. And William thinks we captured his likeness very well. Mike Geller says, I smell a double standard. We're not going to go to too many comments here because William's unable to read them today.
Yeah.
But if you want to interrupt our show at any point, Rumble Rant, hit the Rumble Rant, $10 or more, and we will go right to your comment. Yeah, I think this is a crazy thing. I am 100% for a ceasefire. I think it's crazy that people don't want a ceasefire. The Shapiros of the world, right?
Right.
We should not want innocent people dying, honest to God, and it doesn't seem like that's widespread. But these protests are a little bit more than that. It's not, I don't know if this is so ideological as it is, anarchy, or at least tenets of these that are anarchists. Let's go to...
Yeah, I've been hearing the term anarcho-fascism. That's almost...
But wait, they're anti-fascist, right? Antifa, right?
But, I'm not saying it's a self-described ideology. That's what's being prescribed onto some of these people.
Hold on. Is this what you describe yourself as? Because that's what I Stand With says.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, your score? Show them the score.
Yeah, no, that was interesting. People know about that quiz, isidewith.com. It's usually, you look at it, it's probably one of the better political quizzes out there. I take it. I want to see, who should I vote for president? What are my ideologies? I'm 78% libertarian, but I'm 74% a fascist, according to isidewith.com. And according to isidewith, I agree with Ron DeSantis, Guantanamo Bay. I agree with Vivek and Nikki Haley more than I agree with Trump. So I think this website's a little biased. I don't think it's actually capturing my true philosophy on it.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay, so these protests aren't only here, they're also spreading to Canada like wildfires. So check this story out here. This is Justin Trudeau at a dinner event. No, by the way, Trudeau is the fakest of the fake, honest to God. It's amazing these guys get elected, right? It just amazes me that people don't see through the bullshit. So watch him getting shouted down.
He's Castro's son, isn't he? He's Fidel Castro's son. That's what a lot of people say. You look at the pictures; they do look similar, and he's got a lot of the same goals. He loves power. It would make a whole lot of sense in it.
Except
a lot
for the
of
fact
people say
his dad was very well known as a very famous Canadian politician.
Right,
so.
but it sounds like his mom was a whore. That's what it sounds like when you read the reports.
Wow, did we stoop low on this one? Oh my God, I don't know anything about that story.
Yeah, well, if you look into it, she sounds like she was getting around.
Okay.
Really quick.
Oh, okay. Well, cheers to you too.
Really quick. I took the I Side With quiz just now.
Yeah.
I couldn't make it past the first couple questions.
Oh, it's so long.
Yeah.
It's ridiculously long, and sometimes it's tough to even some of the positions. There's not one that actually fits what you really think, so it's a little bit tough.
So apparently, I don't care.
Yeah, it's usually too long for most people to care about or take, and since I'm finding that it's not all that accurate, not really worth it.
All right, well, this would also say Trudeau sides with the communists. So let's go to this video of Trudeau. Watch him pretend like nothing's happening and just embrace people here. This is
fire now! Shame on you! You have blood on your hands! Call for a ceasefire! Call for ceasefire! Call for ceasefire! You have blood on your hands! You have blood on your hands! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! You fund genocide! Justin Trudeau, you fund genocide!
How many more kids have to die?
You fund genocide, Justin Trudeau! Look at us! Look at us! Look at us, Justin Trudeau! Answer for your crimes! You are killing kids!
Oh, that's good enough. I mean, it's rather funny to watch the left eat its own, right? Oh, by the way, we've been lectured many times, Jesse. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's always the right that are on the circling fire squad. It's just like, how many more evidence do you need to see that the left is fighting and feuding all the time?
Oh, yeah.
But what's fascinating about this stuff is I agree with the ceasefire. I'm not a leftist activist. I'm not going and shouting down these people. To me, there's something even more and more deep-rooted in this thing. But I would accuse some of it as, some nefarious stuff, like planted people in there to, like, heighten up the violence. But it's really fascinating that's happening on the left against the left, whereas in the past, it tends to be against the right or maybe standing authority of like the cops or something like that. And in this case, it's like, no, we're going to shout down these leftist politicians.
We really haven't seen like an anti-war left movement since George Bush, in our country or anywhere else really for a while. So it's pretty interesting. And yeah, what's going on in Canada? I mean, they're going to have another election in maybe a year or so. And, Pierre Poilievre, the conservative leader, the Conservative Party leader, he's gaining a lot of support. And seeing that the left is, dividing themselves already, I mean, they already have a major split between the Liberal Party and they got their own kind of, it's not the Green Party, the Social Democratic Party or something, but, so they're an even further left party to Trudeau's party. So considering that there's, all of these splits happening, it could be the end of his regime. I'd love to see Trudeau out of there. When you look at everything that's gone on between the truckers, where mandating the vaccine, the dude is a total tyrant. He wants to take everybody's guns in Canada. So I appreciate seeing the left even attacking him too. And you're right that the left is divided on this issue. And
by the way, the election is until October of 2025. I mean, you're stuck with that commie forever. It's just, it's crazy. Trudeau's terrible.
Yeah, it is ridiculous. And yeah, Canada's got a funky system where, technically a lot of people say, oh, that'll never happen. But technically the King of England at any point can thwart and hold back any election of Canada. They're controlled by the English deep down.
I got to read Base Minnesota. Props to the left for speaking out. The right is too busy wearing out their knee pads.
Yeah, right.
That's so true. Oh man, they're just all kissing the ring of the establishment and the power of the globalists. That's really what controls politics, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying voting doesn't matter. I'm not saying that, right? But let's just be honest. There are sinister forces in charge of a lot of what's going on. And it's not like every politician's directly corrupted, but enough of them are, right? Yep. And that's probably like mostly blackmail. It's, we just read the story about these this brothel that got busted by the feds, and apparently elected officials were on the list of clients. And we all know about Jeffrey Epstein. So there's some ruling class, some globalists that are calling the shots, and they have enough of these guys bought and paid for that they get them to do what they want to do. And it's, by the way, it's almost always against us, the people, right? Yeah. And that's why, as I develop a little bit more into my 40s, I just realized, because I've always identified myself as a conservative or a libertarian, I don't see a lot of space in between those two viewpoints. I live comfortably saying both. Okay, libertarian's probably a little bit more accurate for me, but now I'm just more pro people, pro the common man. In many regards. Well, we'll get to the Kid Rock. I like how Kid Rock addressed the Bud Light thing. I like that. Me too. I agree with him. Well, why am I tempting this thing? Bring up the video of Kid Rock. That was really good how he explained it, because we all on this show have talked at great lengths about the grooming of our children with this transgender cult, right? I might not necessarily get along with a lot of people that are transgender. A lot of these guys actually kind of have mental defects, right? Like they have some mental problems. But I have known a transgender person that I got along fine with in a friend group in politics. It's really not about that. It's about once you cross this line and you start indoctrinating our children. And, other than that, I can get along with people of all different classes and race and creed and religions. I really feel like that there's these powerful forces that are really trying to push this division amongst us, so we're fighting amongst ourselves more and more. And that doesn't take away from the fact you do have to fight against the grooming, the transgender grooming, all that stuff. But there are a lot of things on the surface, just like, why are we fighting on some of this stuff? There are people right now devaluing your dollar and making you poorer by the day. They're doing this stuff on purpose, and we're focused on fighting each other.
Well, what I mean? This clip also shows the freedom-loving, rock and roll punk rebels. It's, there's no more room for you on the left. It's only on the right. So it's interesting. The left used to be the kind of place where, if you were for free speech and free expression, screw the government, they need to get out of our lives, then, you could honestly have had a place in the Democrats, 20 years ago. But, we'll play the video. But, yeah, what Kid Rock says kind of shatters that, and shows that there's a whole new wave to, this conservative thinking.
Okay, let's go about halfway through. I think that's about what we want to
Yeah.
do. He's Sean Hannity's asking him about, talking to the CEO of Anheuser-Busch, who was at the USC event sitting next to Trump and him.
Ooh.
No. It's like buffering there.
That's gotta be the first time that's ever.
I know. It seems like so old school, doesn't it? Like, what's going on?
Huge fan of Dana White. Sending that can to the trans kid, you kind of signaled to us you support this lifestyle, and more importantly, like men being in women's sports or in my granddaughter's locker room. Most of us draw a hard line right there. No. What are you
have
doing?
A granddaughter? You're like
Got
40,
two grandkids.
You're like 42 years old. Well, go ahead.
It gets
No, he's
cold in
not.
Detroit. Sean.
Yeah, I guess it does.
So I said, you signaled that to us. I said, but speaking of, I was like, if someone wants to be trans, I was like, I didn't rip that kid. I said, F you guys. I said, I didn't even say boycott or cancel. I said, F you. I said, what are you doing? Injecting yourself into this conversation, these polarizing social issues. I was like, you could be doing so much more positive stuff, just making us laugh and drink beer. But I said, someone wants to dress up like a girl, they want to be transgender or whatever. A lot of people fought and died for them to do that. Go for it. We can coexist. In public places, you might not be my first dinner invite, you know what I mean? And I'm probably not yours.
so good.
And if you're gay, no one cares anymore, right? We all got gay family members, gay friends, gay co-workers. It's like, cut it out. Just be gay.
You know,
How about, I'm not going to clap
what I hear-
louder for you.
You know what I hear you saying? You believe in freedom.
Yeah.
But if you want to indoctrinate kids in school,
That's what I tell my. Let me say this to the trans and gay community right now. Be yourself. That's cool. You're cool with me. I'm cool with you. That's how most people are. But as soon as you bring our kids into this, that's where you're going to bring hatred into it.
Yeah, exactly.
our
And that's
frickin'
the
kids
point. That's where I think we all are at. That's why all of a sudden you see this rise. He says something that reminds me of back in the 90s, Ted Nugent. I've been a Ted Nugent fan for a long time. Obviously loved his music, but also as an archer, like he was the bow hunting guy. It's funny nowadays to see how many, big names are bow hunters, including like Joe Rogan, right? But back in the day, it was just Ted Nugent. So I've been a fan of Ted Nugent. They did a behind the music, old school VH1 thing. And I remember it was like asking his thoughts on certain issues, and they asked about homosexuality. And Ted Nugent said, if someone wants to take a swan dive in some goat urine toxified peanut butter, go right ahead. Just don't splash any on me. And I was like, that's so poetic as a rock star would say. But it's kind of true. It's like, yeah, live your life. But once you start affecting like my children especially, then it's like you're crossing a damn line. And that's really the way I see things. I think a lot of our people in our audience see it that way too. I'd be love to hear you guys' thoughts on that.
And I like what Kid Rock was saying there too. If you're cool with me, I'm cool with you. Just keep the kids out of it. That's how most people view it, I think.
Minnesota girl says, I'm curious, if terrorists swarmed the southern border and killed 40,000 people, would you think that America should pursue destruction of said terrorists despite collateral damage? Yeah, I don't think we should be in the ballpark. Well, first of all, collateral damage means that it was very unintentional. That's the way that I would kind of define it. So it's just one of those things that does happen unintentionally. When you target certain civilian populations and just say, well, that's a casualty of war, that's a totally different equation. And I'm not for that. I don't want to see innocent people being killed. Many of these wars are really just fought because rulers on both sides say that we're feuding and we're at war. And it's like the innocent people over there and the innocent people over here. It's not fair that we're killing each other. I don't like that shit, okay? But, it's a very interesting question. If 40,000 people were slaughtered here, yeah, we do need to retaliate. Same thing with Israel. They need to retaliate as well.
Right.
It's just
but
once you
we're
start,
now at the point where Israel has killed more civilians than
Right.
Palestine has. Israel has killed more Palestinians than Palestine has killed of Israel. And, so at what point is it fair? At what point, does it become neutralized? And I don't know if there is ever going to be that point for Israel where they're content. They're probably only going to be content when they can expand their country.
Well, and that's kind of what I think is going on too,
Right.
right? They just want full control of Gaza.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
Bibi
what it
Netanyahu
comes
is,
across
like,
as.
not a good person, right? We have to
Yeah.
understand that, and neither are our leaders too, right? So, in your hypothetical, this is happening under Biden's watch, and this got brought up last night. Laura Loomer and Dave Smith are debating on Zero Hedge on X or Twitter as we know it. Go watch it. Very good debates.
Yeah,
Probably
Laura
an hour and a
Loomer
half.
put it up on her Rumble channel as well, so people can find it there too.
She probably shouldn't have done that. She got her clock clean.
Yeah.
It wasn't close. But it's an interesting point. It's like, what should we do in response? Well, number one, I would be first targeting our damn leaders. I shouldn't even call them leaders. I don't know why would you call them leaders? Targeting our politically elected people and saying, you let this happen. Because how on earth, and this is literally live what's going on, people coming across our border, and yeah, we haven't had a major attack yet, right? Coming across the border, but it's doing a lot of other bad things, especially fentanyl deaths, and the people trying to come across the border and trafficked in, being dumped in the Rio Grande. It's a horrible crisis, and it's all because these politicians in Washington, D.C. are letting it happen. So we have, and the same thing with Israel. Netanyahu should pay for it. But if you listen to these guys, they're like, well, now is not the time. And we played this on the last show. Netanyahu says, well, now's not the time for people to take responsibility. We must be unified as a country. That's the scare. That's the whole point. So are we unified as a country and just killing civilian populations? No, absolutely not. We're not unified on it. By the way, the other thing I loved about the Dave Smith Laura Loomer debate is Dave Smith making that same point we made on this show, is that it's the sins of the rulers shouldn't be the sins of the nation that you're following, even if it's democratically elected. In other words, like if 50% plus one voted for Joe Biden, then it doesn't mean Joe Biden can do whatever he wants around the world, and it's us. It's on us. Oh, well, you guys elected him.
Yeah.
It doesn't go
And
that
even
way.
that's debatable.
Yeah, I know, that's very
exactly.
debatable.
So, no, and also the problem is that, the Hamas was elected in 2006, and if we were still, held to the standard that we have George W. Bush as our president, then, obviously times change. I don't know how the Palestinian people would vote if they held an election today. That would be very interesting to see.
But see, this is another thing that got brought up in that debate, and this is where, because Dave Smith and I come from the same area of politics, like the Ron Paul revolution. It's like you have to understand the principles of blowback. You go in and you kill somebody, their mother, daughter, son, whatever. You just made new enemies, and that's 100% true. You might not be on board with the stated objectives of Hamas or some militia or terrorist group. But once you get drawn into it because you killed an innocent person's son, daughter, whatever, family member, loved one, you just made a new enemy, and they now might align with Hamas. Just as Benjamin Netanyahu aligned with Hamas when he supported Hamas. Look that story up. That's an interesting thing. Yeah. Israel was actually supporting Hamas. Kind of blew back on them, didn't it? Right?
Yeah.
This is the problem.
They
with
say it
all
was a
these
mistake,
entanglements.
though.
Well, yeah, now it's a mistake. Yeah,
Yeah.
and Hillary Clinton said her biggest mistake was supporting the Iraq war. Well, that was a
Yeah.
pretty big mistake there, Hillary Clinton.
And
Razzle
Obama
dazzle.
said his biggest mistake was Libya. So, and that was more Hillary than Obama. But yeah, and how crazy is that to say? Oh yeah, we made a mistake. We accidentally killed off the leader. Oh no, we made a mistake. We sent a country into civil war. Oh, that was my biggest mistake.
Right,
It's like,
right.
Are you kidding me?
Razzle dazzle says he's 52. Says has one child. Who's that? Wiki is interesting on him. Who knows how accurate? Who are you talking about? Is that
Kid Rock?
Oh, it's probably Kid. Yeah, it probably is Kid Rock. He has one child. I would guess more. Speaking of Ron Paul, where's Mort? I don't know. Where's Mort? Come on, Mort. Get back in studio. Well, it's not your job, I guess. Get back here. We want you. He's been busy. That's the story of Mort. I was actually hanging out with him a weekend ago. Oh, it is Kid Rock. Kid Rock's that makes sense. 52.
Yeah.
Because I was listening to him at the end of high school. So he's like 10 years older than me. That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, what's the next story we got? Oh, so let's talk about Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens feuding. Pull up this story. This is from, is this Mediaite? I lost my page. All right, so emotionally unhinged Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens get in wild fight after he tells her by all means quit. Okay.
He says that because he can't fire her. That's why he can't fire her.
Why? Because
I don't know, but it's because of the ownership structure of the Daily Wire. But he doesn't have the authority to fire her. That's why.
I don't think he's in charge of Daily
Right.
Wire.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay, whatever. I mean, most people think he is, like the guy who runs it. Here's my deal on Ben Shapiro. I mean, the guy's made a career at beating up like college students, like in a verbal exchange, not beating up physically, because he probably couldn't. He's smart, obviously smart. He talks really fast. I've never seen a guy talk that fast. It's ridiculous. It's almost off-putting, but it is kind of interesting because it does portray this intelligence. Okay, but he's always been this neoconservative, like almost neocon kind of flavors to him.
Yeah.
As close as you can get to that with still being appealing to youth. Does that make sense? Am I kind of explaining that
I
wrong?
think that's pretty accurate. I think he's like the youthful neocon. He's like that brand of the party for the younger generation. He's liked generally by conservatives, but yeah, he definitely is on the more neocon side of things.
Glenn Cott says, "Good afternoon from Prairie on Sleepy Eye. The Ron Paul revolution got me politically active too. I love to hear
nice
that."
to see Glenn back in the comments here.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah, you got beer. I'll stop over after the show. Okay. Yeah, we probably still do have beer in the fridge.
We do.
We have too much alcohol from those nights that we do special shows, the drinking shows, and then they never get drunk after that.
Nope.
So they probably get expired, except for the whiskey. Okay, so so that's kind of the way I look at Ben Shapiro. And if you look at some of the other people that have kind of gone up the system in the new media world, because that's what he's done, they tend to be a little bit more on the libertarian side or on our side, right?
A little bit more.
So, or America First side too, which seems like there's a lot of congruence there. So here's Ben Shapiro. He's caught on tape saying this about, it looks like it was a private event someone started recording. So let's pull this up, Dawson. He's in a white shirt. Yep, right there. Let's try to hear what he has to say. It's kind of hard to listen to, but.
Yes, the question is about Candance Owens. I think her behavior during this has been disgraceful.
What is going on? There we go.
Yeah, and she still works for my company. And I think she's been absolutely disgraceful. I think that her faux sophistication on these particular issues has been ridiculous. It's not faux sophistication, it's ridiculous.
Look at those people shocked in the background.
Things that she's saying, and I find them disreputable.
Okay, so actually, that girl was shaking her head. It seemed like I don't know why he had to say that. I mean, like, honest to God, it seems like a kind of a bad thing to say. Now, maybe this is all fake and it's WWE and they're just doing this to get more ratings. I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. But what's fascinating about it is,
I don't think so. I think
it's
Candace
deep-rooted?
is starting to speak out on her own. I think she's got enough money now where she's like, I'm just going to speak my mind. I don't care anymore. She used to kind of be, standard line talking points. Here's what they want me to read. Here's what I'm going to say. That was kind of my impression of her throughout the last few years. But I'm starting to see her more and more as someone who's kind of a little bit more of a firebrand. I think she's more willing to speak her mind. I think she's got enough money to last herself. So I think she doesn't care anymore what people think.
yeah, maybe. And she's got bigger things going on in her life because when she sat down for Tucker 2 days ago, she's very pregnant. Like 40 weeks. Like,
I think
like
her
it was
second
probably
one.
dangerous going to Tucker's studio. You
Yeah.
never know. So
Right.
She's popping. Very good looking woman, by the way. So she writes in the tweet following that being leaked, and that's how she found out about it. She just wrote, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." You know the Bible verse, very good Bible verse. Quotes the Bible, quotes scripture, and Ben Shapiro fires back on Twitter. "Candace, if you feel that taking money from the Daily Wire somehow comes between you and God, by all means quit."
That's close.
Yeah.
You need more tenor in your voice, though.
I don't have tenor in my voice. I was a
You
bass
kind of sound
inquirer.
like a nasally little kid, and then
Little nasal. Candace, if you feel that taking money from the Daily Wire somehow comes between you and God, by all means quit.
yeah,
Is that better?
Much
that's
better.
a lot better. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Maybe I could hone in that Shapiro thing.
Yeah.
Then I could work on my eyebrows. I could paint them, right? So she basically, you have been acting unprofessional. We're going right into it. You know how I just said, like, these globalists, they want to just make us all feud and fight between it. And look, I just took the bait here. We're fighting. Like, why? This is stupid.
Yeah.
But anyhow, it's an unimportant issue.
Fun.
So, yeah, it's fun.
You know,
okay.
And I think I'm on Team Candance on this one.
Well, of course
between
you're on
her
Team
and,
Candance.
Ben Shapiro, because he totally is acting crazy, and he's acting like a triggered snowflake, and he would be making fun of anybody if this was any other issue. It's only because it's Israel that he gets his yarmulke in a knot.
Why am I? Tucker says Jake is sleeping on the couch tonight. Why am I sleeping on the couch tonight? Am I missing something? Ponchos
I don't know.
Pick some. Why am I? I don't think I'm slipping on the couch tonight.
What does
Jeez,
that
how
mean?
dare you? Tim Pool is
You call
speculating it was
Candace
to
Owens
draw
hot.
attention.
Maybe that's it.
Well, I can say a woman's a good-looking woman.
Yeah.
But
I didn't say
Candace
hot.
Owens?
Hot as a sexual connotation. Brad Gander says the only one missing on the set is Brett Cooper. There you go. Thanks for the thanks for the rumble rat there, Brad.
Yeah.
Always
it
Brad.
was about Candace.
Yes. You can say a woman's a good-looking woman. What's wrong with that? I'm not sleeping on the couch for that, Tucker. Marry a good woman.
All right, I'll look up Candace Owens. You forced my hand.
Have you not seen Candace Owens?
No.
Well, do it live on the show. Don't put it on your phone. Bring up a picture of Candace Owens.
Okay. By YouTube.
I didn't mean on YouTube. Just go on Google. Just Google images. We'll do this live so we see what you see, Dawson.
Okay. Give me a second.
By the way, this is a more ridiculous thing to say this. Well, don't put one that's so angry. Why is she so angry?
This is the first one that comes up.
Boy, she's got. Well, there's a good smiling one. Stop the angry
Yeah,
ones.
that's
There's
the
plenty of smiling ones.
testifying in
What is with
Congress.
you, Dawson?
Got it. No, I'm just.
Look at the smiling ones. The
You
pink.
think that most of the time you're looking at a woman, she's going to be all happy?
Yes, that's generally what they are like around me.
Not in my experience.
Of course. Yes, we've just revealed so much here. They're always smiling around me and mad at you, Dawson. That's a good-looking woman right there.
Sure.
Okay.
She's
Nothing crazy to say there.
Wait, what's Ben Shapiro's sister's name?
Oh man, I don't know.
Laura Loomer.
Yeah, no.
She's no Ben Shapiro's sister. Is
Yeah.
What I'll say.
Oh man, more people hate jewelry than there are Jews. I think they're just on edge. Says North Minnesota. I don't understand what you're saying. More hate. Did you mean to say what? More people hate jewelry than? Oh, they're just on the edge. Well, everyone's on the edge right. The whole nation's on the edge right now. And this is what I'm getting at is I think a lot of people want this to happen.
Well,
Anyhow,
it is true. There are definitely leftists who hate Jews. I mean, that stuff is out there. There's leftists out there that are pro-Hamas and everything. And it's funny when, when the Democrats were, calling RFK anti-Semitic. It's like, yeah, the Democrats don't hate the Jews for right now. It's like they're going to get around to it eventually. And, some of them, same thing with the progressives. Yeah, it's like, yeah, you're not mad at the Jews now until Israel attacks Hamas and Palestine. Then all of a sudden they go crazy. So it is interesting how some of these leftist minds work. And I think the biggest problem is I think most people aren't educated on it either way. I think people are just taking a stand.
It's kind of racism, right? Like
Yeah.
that's just an uneducated position. It's like I hate the Jews. Oh yeah, all Jews are the same people, right? I know Dawson's not ethnically Jewish, but it's like people will say, yeah, the Jews control the banks and the money and all that stuff. It's like, yeah, Dawson, did you get that check this month?
I
Did they
freaking wish.
give you your share?
Yeah, I
right?
wish I did. That'd be awesome.
At least South Park makes fun of it. Cartman's just ignorance on that Kyle's being a Jew and they're part of like the global elite. It's like, it's the dumbest thing. It's the same kind of racism as all the other things coming from the left, right? Mm-hmm. By the way, that was another good point that Candace made, and she could say she's a black woman, but she's talking about how all of a sudden we're talking about this big anti-Semitism on college campuses, and Jews are afraid to go to class and all this kind of stuff. It's like for the last 20 years they've been anti-white racism on college campuses. You're supposed to be like ashamed for being white on college campus. I'm like, that's actually a damn good point, right? That's all we've heard is how bad the white man is on college campuses. And now all of a sudden, like, well, that doesn't matter, but the anti-Jew. And by the way, all these things are bad. Anti-black, anti-Jew, anti-Asian, all really bad.
Yeah, when I hear this, like, oh, there's such anti-Semitism on the college campuses, it reminds me of, like, when I rolled my eyes at the Asian hate stuff, when they said Chinese people are getting a lot of hate in college campuses. Whatever. It's like, yeah, there might be a few one-off instances here and there, but it's not like a bunch of whiteys are around killing Asians because of the Kung flu. It's a ridiculous idea. I don't think there was, Asian hate, and a lot of these hate crimes, all it does is, usually it's just crime. It's not a hate crime. But it's interesting how, a lot of people are offended now, and the right wingers are the ones who are trying to become anti-free speech for college campuses.
William signaled me that we got another Rumble rant. Keep up the good leadership, Jake, says Glenn Cotton. Thank you, Glenn. I'll give you that $10 later for making that comment. No, I appreciate it. That was like unexpected. It was pretty good. Mm-hmm. I can't just take a compliment. It's very abnormal, so I'm just going to make fun of you for saying that. But I do appreciate it. Napkin Air says, Shapiro also likes the Barbie movie. False. Fake news. Total fake news. We did that. He definitely did not like the Barbie movie. Or did he really secretly like the Barbie movie? Is that what he's trying to say? I don't know.
Did you see? You saw that he dressed up as Ken to go and watch it, right?
Yeah. I think that was in the video we. Yeah. Well, that's just my impression of Ben Shapiro. I wish Bridget was here because she loves the Daily Wire. She likes the whole crew. And I wonder where she falls on this. Because remember, that's what I did in our thread. I put Mom and Dad are fighting. Mm-hmm. I love giving Bridget crap on that stuff.
Even
she's like, oh, this is nothing,
And even Matt Walsh is, on Team Candance in this whole thing.
Oh, good.
I don't know if he's explicitly said that, but he's basically said something to the same effect of like, are we not allowed to ask questions?
No, that's part of the problem with this whole thing. You're supposed to follow the script, guys, the narrative that the media is the media and the ruling elite, right? Trump, let's go play this video. Trump on the Israel war. Okay, so I kind of give Trump a little bit of shit for, playing around on this thing. But because he is a presidential candidate, you kind of want to get more stances on him. But at the same point, Trump is actually being real here. This is a very complex issue, and it's not so obvious that one side's right. It's so easy for the Ben Shapiro world to just go, the Jews can't do anything wrong here. I shouldn't say the Jews, right? Because quite frankly, there's a lot of Jewish people against this, calling for ceasefire. So really, the Israel leaders or Israel leadership, the political rulers, Benjamin Netanyahu, all the rest, those are the people with the problem. Let's go pull this video up of Trump. This is looks like a YouTube short, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
An easy crisis to handle. When you look at the demonstrations going on in the United States, people are very surprised when they see, 50 and 100,000 people demonstrating, and they say Palestinians. We're on the side of the Palestinians. Everyone's saying, "Wait a minute, what's going on here?" And I think Israel has to do a better job of public relations, frankly, because the other side is beating them at the public relations front. That's a very important front. There is no hatred like the Palestinian hatred of Israel and Jewish people, and probably the other way around also. I don't know, it's not as obvious, but probably that's it too. The sad part is there would have never been an attack on Israel, and there would have never been a counterattack on
Gaza.
Yeah. Gaza, what's happening to Gaza? It's just unbelievable.
You've seen the images, heard the stories.
No, it's horrible.
Oh my God.
It's horrible on both sides.
Ever since watching that Shane Gillis, How You Imitate Donald Trump, I can't not see that. It's so good. Mm-hmm. And the other thing, my maturity level here, they do that side shot of Trump where, his pants are pulled up a little bit because, he's sitting down.
Yeah.
And you can see his black shoes. And I can't get over the fact that I'm just thinking, if DeSantis was in that shot, I'd be seeing some lifts right now, right?
Yeah.
I can't. That's where my head goes when I watch that. But fair point, right? It's a very difficult subject, and people treat it as like, oh, this is so obvious, so easy. It's like, it's really not. And by the way, Israel can clearly do wrong, right? Israel has done wrong. They supported Hamas, right? Mm-hmm. They probably had a calculation, better than the PLO or whatever it was. But it's like, they still supported Hamas. It blew back and hit them really bad in the face. And what is with the intelligence downfall, the most surveilled area? We'll never get to the bottom of that story, by the way. It's just like the origins of COVID. That's the other thing. I'm pro people. How about some answers on some of these really important things? How is the most surveilled, tightest border, most secure place on the whole planet? How is it possible that Hamas is able to just jump over and commit this heinous act?
Well, Netanyahu says now's not the time for
Now's
questions,
not the time.
Jake. Now's not the time to. We don't need to ask those questions now. We got a war to fight, Jake, and then we'll talk about the questions later, okay?
And then you wonder why we question their motives, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then, you're a poor Israel citizen and you're like, oh, damn, like all these people got killed and hostages still taken. And these are our freaking leaders. By the way, it doesn't get reported here in America. Generally, when we listen to Benjamin Netanyahu, we're getting the English versions, the English speeches. It's way different over in his own country, right? People have to understand this guy's not very popular. He's really got a big uprising against him. And there's a lot of Israelis who are against what they are doing as well, just like it was in America. Remember, following the 9/11 attacks, completely justified in going all over going to the places Al Qaeda we're training and we're still headquartered, right, in Afghanistan. And then we end up in these prolonged wars and fighting the Taliban in Afghanistan for 20 years. And we go to Iraq under these false premises. And it's like, there's legit criticism. I wish I was on the right side of that. I was a much younger guy. And then I ended up going to Iraq too. So I actually got to see it. But I wish, this did happen in the United States. People did have legit criticisms of their own government. And that's just where I'm at in these things. It's like, I personally just think these wars and all this stuff is just the health of the politicians and the state and the apparatus behind it. It's certainly helping out the military-industrial complex. We've got to stop this. Plus, just if you get past that, like get past the fact that many people are benefiting from this stuff, right? The idea that when you bomb an innocent civilian, right, or kill innocent civilians, that there's no kind of blowback that comes back and hurts you down the road is asinine that people don't make that connection. It's going to just imagine a justified bombing raid or a justified attack on, I'm trying to think, if you could even put in place that you're in America, a justified attack against us because our government launched something against, that's a horrible analogy because it's kind of hard for us to envision that, but just put yourself in the place of where somebody had a justified attack against you, but it killed your daughter or killed your son. What would that do to you, right? Wouldn't you all of a sudden see the world way different? Well, that's exactly what's going on in Gaza. And so, yeah, what do you do? That one question about it was coming across the southern border. You don't just go back and just say, we're carte blanche, we're going to kill everybody, right? And you do have to criticize Israel. Israel just attacked and raided a hospital, right? What was that hospital? Al Fife or what was it?
Yeah, I don't know the name of it, but yeah.
Well, they were saying that there's this elaborate tunnel system, which, by the way, they kind of know there's tunnel systems because they created those tunnel systems in the 80s. But it's like they were saying this is the headquarters of Hamas and all that kind of stuff. And they go in there, and their big evidence to the mainstream media and the global world is that, hey, look, there is a cache of like some magazines and an AK-47. It was like nothing, right? Yeah. It was not like this big global headquarters of Hamas. KWAL for life just said a Rumble rant here. William alluded that to me. Looking forward to the April Christmas event, December 7th. It's almost like I should be paying KWAL for life $20 for promoting our event. Thank you for saying that. Go to actionforliberty.com. Right on the front page, you can go join a Christmas event. You get to see Mega Jesse, hang out with him. I'm going to give you a speech time at the Christmas event. You know that?
Oh, yeah?
Do you accept?
No, I can give a speech. We can make that happen.
It's going to be good, guys. Let's just put it this way. You give a speech that you wouldn't give anywhere else. Will you do that? I can
do that, yeah.
There you go. Come to the event. Plus, you could win an AR-15, right? Non-buying approved AR-15. Well, I don't. We might switch it up. It's going to be buffet style. Listen, we're not going to put those little garnishes on your plate and dress it up and it's still crappy, food that, that's the thing that everyone knows what I'm talking about. You go to this wedding, right? And it's extravagant and it's like, and I'm not talking about your wedding, William. This is why I gagged you because I don't want to hear it back from you, but because your food was great. But you know what I'm talking about. You go to a lot of weddings. You go to these events by other political groups and they put the garnish and the thing on the plate and you're like, oh, it's very well prepared. They bring it out, service, and it tastes like shit.
Yeah.
We're just going to give you good food. It's going to taste really good. It's going to taste better than that stuff, but it's going to be a buffet line. There you go. And that's how we keep the prices real cheap, by the way. Love the pitch for 12/7. Thank you very much. By the way, a day that lives in infamy too, huh?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Did you hear Chuck Schumer accidentally said, I think he said, instead of October 7th, I think he accidentally said, what would he say, January 7th, when he was talking about the attack. Yeah, because he mixed that and January 6th together. So
that's so
a lot of people are coming after him for it.
That is so appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what do we got for time? 1:50. Okay, let's get into this story here. God, I really want to talk about this story. There is a mysterious flash and boom. Have you guys seen this story in Bemidji, Minnesota? First of all, if you don't know Minnesota well, Twin Cities, kind of like southeast Minnesota, okay? Right? People from real southeast Minnesota are like, what are you talking about southeast Minnesota? But when you look at the map of Minnesota, we're right down towards the bottom of Minnesota. You basically got to go up north of Hinckley until you start hitting like the forest part of Minnesota, because it's farmlands, everything below that. And if you just keep going up and you start going west, eventually you get on the Highway 2, and you're talking about almost moose country. I actually have seen a moose cross Highway 2. It's a little outside its range. And eventually you go far enough northwest and you hit Bemidji, Minnesota, 4 hours north of the Twin Cities area. That's how far Bemidji, Minnesota is. News doesn't travel fast these days for Bemidji, Minnesota. But there's a mysterious flash and a boom. Have you guys seen the story? Tell us in the comment section. I'm very interested. Have you seen this? With no explanation. People initially thought this was a meteor. I've seen a meteor, by the way, one of the rare few ones in Minnesota in the night sky. But check out this story. This is from Lakeland News. If you're from northern Minnesota, you know Lakeland News. We got a cabin, by the way, north of Bemidji, so that's how I know this area well.
The mystery remains surrounding a bright light and a loud boom that many people witnessed near Bemidji last night. County officials now say it was unlikely that it was a meteor, but they still don't know exactly what it was. Reporter Zariah Simmons takes a closer look.
Around 6:40 p.m., people in Beltrami County either heard a boom or saw a bright flash, or both. Some were able to catch it on film. The Beltrami County Emergency Management Director Chris Muller says the initial investigation of obvious sources came up empty.
Initially, we thought maybe it was a substation or a power transformer. We had officers and deputies checking the area trying to find something. We did not have any power outages reported, which would coincide with one of those electrical infrastructure failures, which kind of eliminated that idea. And then we got footage from a surveillance camera from a residence in Nymore that showed a very bright flash followed by a very loud explosion sound shortly thereafter.
Beltrami County was left with a lot of questions after the sonic boom. Today, a new video emerged with the perspective of an object that may have caused the boom.
One of the additional information that we received was a video from the Bemidji Regional Airport on their surveillance camera with the vantage point of facing east over the city of Bemidji. And in that video, you can see right over the city a very fast-moving object.
NASA scientists and astronomers were given access to this video. After carefully examining each frame of the video, they concluded that the item from the new video today was too horizontal to be a meteor. In addition, they determined the source of flash and the boom were less than a mile apart.
All right, stop right there real quick. I know what you guys are thinking. I know already. Aliens. Okay, I get it. There might be an explanation for that, though. Stop it, Jesse. I know you're going to aliens already. Just hold your horses. By the way, I love the comment here. Who had this one? North Minnesota. Bemidji is the south end of North Minnesota. Very humorous because I know someone up that lives like basically on the boundaries of the Boundary Waters, like outside of Ely. Like, yeah, like if you're in International Falls, Bemidji is down south. But there is an explanation, at least what they think of that sighting right there. Go ahead, hit play.
We don't have any real confirmation of what it was. I've been working through the day, talking with different organizations, trying to determine what it was. One thing is very clear, that based on the flash and how quickly the boom came after, whatever the object was very close to Bemidji.
The sound was loud enough to rattle windows, shake houses, and set car alarms off. More information is required to rule out any more potential interfering objects.
Some people have compared it to military aircraft flying over a sonic boom. Having experienced that before, I would say that this was significantly louder than that. A lot of the same sentiments from people saying that they saw the bright flash and then heard the boom.
Mueller says at this point, they still don't know what it was, and it remains an interesting puzzle to try and solve. Reporting in Bemidji, I'm Zariah Simmons, Lakeland News.
There have been no reports of any damage or objects identified that have made it to the ground. As mentioned, the second video is still being analyzed, and at this point, officials cannot make a definitive correlation between it and the first video. Bemidji Regional Airport officials told us tonight they now believe their video was completely unrelated to the flash and boom and may have been a bug or something blowing in the wind. They also think the timestamp on the video was off, and it wasn't at the same time as the other.
Oh, convenient. The timestamp was up. There we go. Another special operations there by the CIA. Let's go to the comments section.
They were saying
here.
the airport, right? That the airport footage was the time that was off, that they're claiming?
That's what they're claiming, that camera there.
Okay.
I think that was probably like a bird or a bug or something flying.
Yeah, hard to tell.
Tucker thinks it sounds like lightning and thunder. It's interesting. Boom goes the Dynamite Napkinator, says, Razzle Dazzle, families outside of Bemidji. Well, we should go hang out sometime when I'm up there. Bizarre, says K-Wall, is there a military base up there? Not that we know of. Not that we know of.
Yeah.
Maybe there is. We don't know. Hamas and Bemidji, says Tucker. I don't know. It's a different world north of 2, says Brad Ganser. That's a good inside joke, and yes, that is true. I'm 40 miles from the Canadian border, says Patriot for Life. 2 hours northwest of Bemidji. See, that's exactly it. I know we have an audience that reaches beyond Minnesota, because this is like really deep Minnesota humor, right? Because it's like you drive 4 hours north of Twin Cities, like, finally, am I to Canada by now? And it's like, nope, you can still go another 2 hours.
Yeah.
Probably some country folks blowing up Tannerite, says Napkinator. Maybe. We'll see. I don't know. It's an interesting story. I have no idea, but it's got a lot of people shook. Here's the other thing. It's only been reported, from what I understand, in Bemidji, Minnesota. Okay? So it's like, if this thing was a meteor, why haven't there been reports from other places, even maybe Detroit Lakes, but certainly up to like maybe International Falls, Black Duck, Walker, I'm just trying to do a circle around it. Pull up the video of the meteor I found, Dawson, saw. Oh, there you go. Gregorino 29's got it. It was a gender reveal party. That's it.
Yeah.
Did
Good.
you ever put that anywhere?
No, I didn't put it anywhere. Just in YouTube, just type in Minnesota meteor and pull up the thread. I'll show you exactly, because there's a dash cam by Pine County Dispatch Pine County deputy that's got the meteor I saw. I was on a run like 6 a.m. or something like that near my house in Lake Alamo. Right there. You see the one with the vehicle on the very bottom? This is the one that I saw. So this is like an hour north of where I saw it. This was so cool.
There's no audio.
There was no bang either. How sweet is that?
That's pretty cool.
And I saw that, and like literally, I'm lucky I was facing that direction when it happened. And I'm lucky I was out running that morning too. Like, why else would you be out there? And it looks so close, as if I was like kind of tensing up, waiting for an impact on the other side of the pond. That never happened, right? There's no boom. But I'm like, that's how close it looked like, and clearly it wasn't close. That was an hour north of where I was that they caught that thing. I'm so glad someone caught that on film.
Yeah. No, it'll be interesting to see what ends up coming out about this. I hope that they, end up telling people what they end up discovering, because we don't want some Chinese spy balloon or, anything else going up in our... Say what, Dawson?
I like to think that it's God's pure might striking fear into the hearts of the Bemidji swim team for the season coming up. Yeah.
I don't know. But, I mean, I can't imagine that Beltrami, emergency coordinator guy, I don't think he's in on it. It seems like he's probably trying to get to the bottom of it, too. So, it'll be crazy to see what they end up putting out there, because you'd think there's got to be some kind of impact site. You'd think that there would be some kind of debris and other damage. So, I hope they get to the bottom of this thing.
Razzle Dazzle says F-15E only goes 1,875 miles per hour. Could it just be a fighter jet? I don't think that's even close to a possibility. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. This must have been a long time ago. You don't run. Do you know Brad Ganser? Like, are you guys cigar buddies there? What? Unbelievable. Why do I even read this stuff?
I don't think that it can be a fighter. Or I don't think it's anything breaking the sound barrier because those don't cause flashes. And it seems like there's a flash and a boom and they're linked. So.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's go to this next story. Let's keep it Minnesota here. You guys remember the story a couple weeks ago, almost 3 weeks ago? A Minnesota native died on the ice. You remember this story? This is a bizarre story. I don't have a conclusion on this one, by the way. But did you guys put in the comment section? I'm sorry if you're watching after the fact, but have you actually seen the video of this? It's really bizarre. This hockey player, he used to play for the Pittsburgh Penguins. He's now playing in Great Britain for a hockey team, and gets sliced in the neck by a skate, and ends up bleeding out. Dies, I think, on the way to the hospital. A 29-year-old from Minnesota. I think he played at UMD. The other hockey player that did this is now been arrested for manslaughter. Let's pull up this article here. This is what do we got? The New York Post. Matt Petgrave gets standing ovation from fans in team's first home game since fatal Adam Johnson hit. So this story comes on November 14th. So that was only a couple days ago. The actual incident took the game was on October 28th. Okay. Matt Petgrave, the hockey defensive man whose skate cut Adam Johnson's neck during an October 28th game in England that led to Johnson's death, received a standing ovation during the team's first home game since Johnson died at the age of 29. The Sheffield Steelers, who hosted Johnson's Nottingham Panthers 2 weeks earlier, returned to Utila Arena, Sheffield, on Sunday and paid tribute to Johnson before their Elite Ice Hockey League game against the Coventry Blaze with a wreath laid on center ice and 2 minutes moment of silence followed by a minute of applause, according to BBC. When an image of Petgrave, who did not play Sunday, was shown on the video board, the more than 8,000 fans in attendance gave the 31-year-old a standing ovation. Scroll down and you can see the video here, right there. There's a standing ovation for this gentleman. Now, reading into the story a little bit, it sounds like there are many people in the hockey community that kind of, called on Matt Petgrave as like, well, how would I phrase this? Put a lot of blame on him, and so they're standing by their skater, their hockey player in this instance because he doesn't deserve the backlash he's getting. Now, scroll back down that article. You can see a picture of Matt Petgrave. Now, obviously, I'm not telling you something you don't know. Very few black people in the game. I don't know if this is true, if it's a race issue here that's involved. But it is very bizarre because when you watch, and is the video on here? I don't think we got the video. Should I show the video?
I would personally recommend against it. It's a little harsh when it comes to someone dying.
Okay. Well, scroll down a little bit. That's right. Okay, so I'm going to try to explain this here. Matt Petgrave is, he's kind of in the middle, and you can see he's got his leg extended kicking. From people, now I'm not a hockey expert. I did not play hockey. A lot of people think this is intentional, and I think there's good evidence that it was intentional. It's crazy that, to think that he was trying to kill the guy seems far-fetched, but at the same point, raising basically a knife in the air at someone's neck, like what do you think's going to happen if you make contact? So watch the video if you want. You can make your own conclusion. The point I'm trying to make is what seemed to be a freak accident on ice and how it was initially portrayed in the media, and then this gentleman gets a standing ovation, has now led to an arrest. He's posted bail, but arrest for manslaughter charges, which is a crazy. I don't know where to go from here on the story, but yeah, watch the damn video and come to your own conclusions on it. Have any of you guys at home watched the video? You have to play the video. It's not that bad. Too grainy, says Tucker. I kind of agree with you on that, but Yeah, let me let's not do that on this show, okay? You guys can do it. This is so upsetting. Has to be intentional, says Napkin Nader. Newt 2727. I heard this guy's considered a dirty player. Yeah, I've heard that, and that's I think why they're standing in ovation for him, because he's getting this tarnished reputation, but maybe some of it's deserved. I don't know on this thing. All I see is a Minnesota native dies from something that looks really intentional, right? And then a guy gets a standing ovation. That's crazy. Base Minnesota's Jake, definite intention to injure. I don't believe he meant to kill him, though. And I think, and that's a fair point, I think it's unintentional manslaughter. Obviously, I don't know the criminal code in Great Britain, but I think I saw unintentional manslaughter.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I think, too, is what Base Minnesota is saying in the comments there, that it seems like it was intentional to cause some kind of injury, but I mean, I don't think anybody expected the guy to die. And yeah, and also I think I just chalk that up to, the standing ovation. I just chalk that up to team support. I think if people felt that someone was being unfairly prosecuted for something, then, it's just kind of the fan support of the team that's going to, I could imagine that happening in any sport, like for the NFL or something, if, if Tom Brady got, caught on some charge that everybody didn't believe anyway, and who knows, but I'd chalk it more up to that than the race issue.
Do you remember the, well, you wouldn't remember this. You were way too young at the time. Maybe you guys at home, the Warren Sapp Clifton. What was his name for the Packers? I want to say Chad Clifton. Go on YouTube real quick. Put Warren Sapp S-A-P-P, and Clifton. It ended up injuring Clifton, and Sapp, I think, got ejected from the game. It was a very dirty play, but was still a live ball.
Yeah, there was also that guy who
let's see the top.
He used his helmet to hit someone in the head with it.
Oh, right.
On the field. I can't remember who that was, but that was pretty, within the last couple of years.
What's the next video do? Oh yeah, there you go. That showed the play. Right there. Watch this. Oh my God. Like basically defenseless. It's just like, imagine. And just go back to that real quick, because I think a lot of you guys know at this point, and we've learned a lot about head trauma and stuff like that. But what if that did do? I mean, there's so many things that could go wrong in a play like that. The guy literally doesn't. So first of all, Warren Sapp, really good defensive lineman, very strong to hit someone that's not expecting it. Of course, you're not hitting like a small guy here. Chad Clifton was a starting guard in the NFL, so not a small guy, but yeah, carted off. I can't remember what the injury was, but had that led to a death, what would have happened with Warren Sapp at that point? You got to wonder that kind of stuff. But there is, essentially a weapon at the bottom of that skate. That's the other part there. All right, let's go to this story here. I didn't know about this. You guys know about this update in Fulton County, Georgia's criminal go to let's see, what line is this, Dawson? Line 18. This is from Rasmussen Reports, the infamous Rasmussen polls. Update: Fulton County, Georgia's high-priced criminal defense lawyer sees writing on the wall, hit the silk. These 150,000 still secret 2020 unfolded mail ballots with the perfect ovals protected by court order for 3 years may have gone missing, and the county's lawyers have just quit. And this references a document that says the suit sought an outside review of the nearly 150,000 absentee ballots cast in the county, arguing that people who participate in a hand recount election claimed to have seen absentee or mail-in ballots that suspiciously weren't creased and didn't look like they were marked by hand.
I mean, that's the problem. All of this stuff is on video evidence by now. People have all seen the videos of where they tell them, you got to get out of the building, a water line is broken, and then you see that there's still a mother-daughter team working in there. What do? They scan the same exact ballots 3 times through the same machine. So it doesn't shock me to see that, this sketchy stuff is going on in Fulton County. It's, Georgia was one of the closest elections in the 2020 election. So are we supposed to think that the Democrats aren't going to try to cheat the closest election in the country? Of course they're going to.
Well, of course, this is also Fulton County where there's RICO charges pending on Donald Trump.
Yeah,
and
right.
It's like, once again, if this is the shit that happened in Fulton County, Georgia, and you're going after the people trying to make sure that the election was done correct, it just shows how crazy this world's gotten. T-Wall for Life. William let me know that T-Wall for Life's got a Rumble rant. Sorry I'm late. Looks like I missed a great show. That's okay. K-Wall's been here. K-Wall had you covered. But thank you for the Rumble rant, T-Wall. The best. K-Wall and T-Wall, the best. I love these people. Half of the NFL would get charged if that rule was applied here, except for any of the Bears. It's kind of funny when I watch it looks like Tucker had to weigh in on the Bears defense too. When you watch Dick Butkus, God rest his soul, who just passed away about a month ago, and being a Bears fan, growing up a Bears fan, like Dick Butkus was Mr. Football, but you watch the way that guy played in the 60s, and it's like you would never get to do that today. It's like yellow flag after yellow flag the way that guy played.
Well, especially same thing with basketball. You look at the old footage and then you look at now where everything is so fake and staged. Where they're falling over when they don't get touched. It's not even a sport anymore.
Have you ever
it's
seen
tough
the worst?
to watch.
Have you ever seen the worst LeBron James acting?
Yeah, I've seen some of that stuff.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And there was a comment on Facebook. I want to make sure we get to Bill Dangsvin.
Oh, of course, Bill Dangsvin again.
Because he says, do we think that Representative Matt Grossel, who represents Bemidji in the Minnesota legislature, could be involved in the Bemidji incident somehow? He does have quite the criminal record: drunk driving, disorderly conduct. I know that Grossel tried to start a fight with Eric Mortensen at a convention, and if it wasn't for Bridget stepping in, it would have come to blows. So I think Bill Dangsvin is onto something there. Maybe we should see if Matt Grossel was somehow involved in that.
This Bill Dangsvin seems to have the insight on a lot of what's going on at the Capitol. I mean, these are stories that aren't even public. I heard people are, snorting coke up at the Capitol. We need to have Bill Dangsvin on this show. We need to get. There seems to be some really good stories from this.
There's
Bill
some
guy.
rumors out there.
Yeah. Did Bill Dangsvin message you to let you know that there was a Facebook?
No, I just went and checked it out, and want to make sure we got it.
That's how Bridget found out the other day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because he's the one guy that comments on Facebook. It's really fun. Actually, our most viewed show was on Facebook, by the way, but we put no effort behind Facebook because why would I give Zuckerberg money and time? Plus, they just could take away your page. They literally did. They took away your page. We had a group. This wasn't even our page. This was a group with over 50,000 people were managed with these nurses, these patriotic nurses, and they just wiped off the internet for misinformation, which it would be fun to watch and go through that thread. I'm guessing most of the stuff was correct at this point, right? Oh, you know what? Now that we've paid for enough Rumble rants out there, okay, I've got something I got to get off my chest here. Because I was reading the story this morning, and Tim Walz, let me see, evidence-based. Let's see if I can get this story up here. I assume there's a news story on this. It was something about Tim Walz, or Minnesota got recognized again as a state that's leading on evidence-based decision-making.
That's crazy. They just make up awards, huh? They just make up any kind of award, give it off to each other. That's ridiculous.
Well, it's kind of like Obama getting. Yeah, here we go. This was at the National Governors Association. This is a press release from Walz. Today at the virtual event co-hosted by the National Governors Association and Results for America, Minnesota is recognized as a national leader in using evidence and data to guide decision-making and deliver better results for Minnesotans. And Walz is quoted, "I'm proud that Minnesota has once again been recognized as a leading state for our commitment to data-driven decision-making. By using data and evidence throughout thoughtfully and investing in policies that achieve results, we will continue to improve the lives of all Minnesotans."
You said the Democratic Governors Association. That's who put that out there?
The National Governors Association. I think that's different.
Yeah, that's the uniparty version of it. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, that's unbelievable.
What an insult, right?
Yeah, no, and also it's, like I was saying, like, oh, they're coming up with awards for anything now. That's such a ridiculous thing to be claiming that Tim Walz is using the evidence to determine, how about the Constitution? If we're using the Constitution as the evidence, then Tim Walz is doing a terrible job because he doesn't do anything to follow the Constitution.
But I'm just thinking, like, how many things did he just not even look at the evidence? It's really interesting.
COVID.
It's just as recent as this is last fall. Tim Walz telling you to go get your booster shot. By the way, he didn't get his booster shot on camera because apparently it wasn't available.
Yeah.
He just got his flu shot. But, Tim Walz still promoting that propaganda. Meanwhile, you got the Surgeon General in Florida saying, don't get it. There's no evidence to suggest you should get the new booster shot.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a guy getting awards for evidence-based. It's so ridiculous. It's
yeah,
right
mutilating children. Where's the evidence that is going to be good for children? There's none. So, yeah, that's a ridiculous thing.
Basement. So, Jake, do you know anything about Paul Novotny, who represents the Elk River area? I sense he's a rhino. Yeah, I mean, he's just a typical Republican. I don't know if I don't know what to say about that. Like,
yeah,
I don't think he's any big name at the Capitol. Obviously, when it comes to police stuff, because he was a former cop, he's got a name. But yeah, I mean, he's not voting. He's probably voting okay right now because it's easy when you're in the minority. But I don't think he's gonna be some hero when they're in the majority, if they ever are again.
Mm-hmm.
T-Wall, they shut down the Minnesota Women for Trump group on Facebook the day after the 2020 election. Yep, exactly. We have a new monthly subscriber, Mike Geller. Thank you very much for doing that. I didn't even know that they tell us that. I guess you get like a this is a funny story.
A little badge.
If I can for a second, a little personal story. So it looks like he's got a little rook, like a chess piece. That's what it gives you when you become a monthly supporter. So I come back in, not from a run, by the way, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, from Lifton. You called me on that, right? Must have been a long time. It was 2 years ago I saw that Meteor. I was running then. All right. So I come back from Lifton, and, it's like kids are up. It's about 7:30-ish, right? And they're playing chess.
Mm-hmm.
And so I go over, and my 9-year-old is whipping my 6-year-old's butt. Okay, big shocker, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And it's down to, he's got like a rook left, and he's got a king, and then basically 3 pawns.
Mm-hmm.
And so my 9-year-old makes a move, and he takes a rook, and he goes diagonal. Whoa, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, they don't move diagonal. He had been playing that way the whole time, because apparently they asked Siri which way it goes, and they misinterpreted what Siri said.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Sorry. I thought that was hilarious. That's my 9-year-old and 6-year-old playing chess the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
Now it'd be really interesting to play it back and see if my 6-year-old could beat him, right?
Mm-hmm.
One last story here. Where was this? Did you put this thing on line 19, Jesse?
That video?
Yeah, I can't tell what
that
is.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't know if it's relevant anymore. It's just an interesting video that I found of a Jewish guy talking to another Jewish person about, about the Israeli war, and he kind of puts this person in their place that, don't give me these crocodile tears for Israel. It's an interesting video. I like it, but we don't necessarily need to get into it.
All right, I'll watch it later. Last story, Newsom cleans San Francisco for China. I don't know if you guys saw the story. This is fascinating stuff. San Francisco, I mean, literally a shithole, right?
Mm-hmm.
If Donald Trump called San Francisco a shithole, I don't think the media could go back and say what his statement is off base, because literally they shit on the street in San Francisco. That's how bad San Francisco is.
Yeah.
But apparently when the communist leader from China comes to town, they clean things up. I'm sure a lot of you seen this story, right? But it's ridiculous. Go ahead, let's play this video here on San Francisco cleaning up and rolling up the carpet.
He explained it.
I know folks say, oh, they're just cleaning up this place because all those fancy leaders are coming into town. That's true, because it's true. But it's also true, for months and months and months prior to APEC, we've been having different conversations. Anytime you put on an event, by definition, you have people over your house, you're going to clean up the house. You have 21 world leaders, you got tens of thousands of people coming from all around the globe. What an opportunity to showcase the world's most extraordinary place, San Francisco.
Fox News' White House correspondent Hillary.
All right. Oh no, play this. This is good.
Vaughn pressed the
Watch
White
this.
House's
This is
Jake
good.
Sullivan about this cleanup, but the national security advisor quickly pivoted, praising Biden. Let's watch.
They've moved homeless to other parts of the city, cleared tent cities, and trash off the street. Is the president embarrassed that an American city needs to go through a total makeover to be presentable for his out-of-town guests?
The president is incredibly proud of the record that the United States will bring as host
All right,
to
I
this
can't.
summit.
I can't
And
even
went
listen
through
to that bullshit. I mean, that is just typical spin. I would never be able to do a job as a press secretary for anything in the government because you got to lie, like
Yeah.
literally. You can't even address a question, and they're just going to do their talking points. Marquis Taft says, I don't trust Newsom. He looks too Canadian." I kind of know what she means.
No,
He
but
looks too Hollywood,
Newsom
really.
obviously loves China. I mean, he
Yeah.
goes way out of his way to impress these people. He thinks the world of China. He was just visiting China. You know, it's obvious.
Yeah, and he
that,
totally Yao Ming that little kid in China,
Yeah,
too.
right.
That's crazy.
Yep.
You guys see that? He's
Yep, no,
playing
it's-
basketball with little kids, and he knocks one over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Got
And, yeah, you know, and also for him to say, "Oh yeah, we're cleaning it up." You weren't cleaning up San Francisco. You were relocating it. You know, all of this was a temporary solution. In a week, you're going to see San Francisco in the same exact spot they were as a week before. So it's just all such a scam, and yeah, it shows that Gavin Newsom's priority is to the Chinese. It's not the homelessness that was killing America. Doesn't matter when it's killing Americans, but when the Chinese want to come by, oh, we better clean this up. So it shows where his priorities are.
But once again, like, this is just getting back to what I'm saying about I'm against these political rulers and I'm pro people. It's like, imagine you've been dealing with this out of control homeless problem, right? And basically drug use just openly, and theft too, right? San Francisco, infamously place you can steal like $900 and not police aren't even called, right? So, which by the way, if people are just stealing $900 worth of goods at your store, that means the price of goods in stores go up big time, right? As if San Francisco wasn't already unaffordable. So you see this shit happening to you, and then you watch what they do when people from out of this country come to town, and they all of a sudden clean it up. Like,
Well,
what a
and-
slap in the face.
Yeah, and the lady that was standing behind Gavin Newsom in that video there, she's the mayor of San Francisco. I watched an interview where it was actually a Bloomberg reporter who was, actually asking some really tough questions and, pointing out that this was all temporary, that it's not a long-term fix, that you guys are only doing this for China right now. It doesn't matter. You guys only clean up when people are coming around. Besides that, you don't care. It was actually a pretty interesting set of questions, but I mean, this San Francisco mayor, she's so good at beating around the bush, not answering the question, deflecting. So it wasn't even worth really watching, but, it's interesting at least that there was at least someone in the media willing to ask some tough questions to her.
Right on. All right. Well, that's our show today. I think we did a pretty good job filling the comment section, even though, William was on mute today. Flashing our logo early, I see. Join us at our Christmas event. Go to actionforliberty.com. You're going to see Jesse's speech. I just did right now. We made the decision. Jesse's going to speak at our event. Actually, we were going to do that anyhow, but I think we can let you do a 10-minute rant. How's that sound?
Yeah, we could make that work.
We'll
I'm
figure
not
something.
going to give any sneak peeks into it though.
No
So
sneak
you got to
peeks.
be there to see it.
There you go.
And it's never going to be allowed on YouTube. I'm gonna push every single line there is.
That was a pretty good selling point right there. You do a lot better selling the event than William did. What was that thing that William was trying to sell? And we're just like, really? That was your pitch?
Oh, I can't
I don't
remember.
think it was a Christmas event.
Was it cookies for the raffle again?
I don't remember. Yeah. All right. Well, anyhow, go to actionforliberty.com. Learn more about that Christmas event. What else do we have to put out here? Next Tuesday we'll be live. Oh, Napkinator, thanks for another great show. $10 Rumble Round. Thank you, Napkinator. He's got that rook behind his name, so that must mean he's a monthly subscriber. I
Yeah,
probably
he
should
is.
know this stuff.
Yeah, he's a monthly supporter.
Oh, there you go. See, Dawson knows this stuff. I'm sorry. Thank you very much. So that's what that means. So that means Tucker is interesting stuff. What does the yellow thing mean? I mean, you got Brad Ganser with a yellow thing. Does that just mean they did a Rumble
It's
rant?
a picture of a whale, so I'm going to assume
Yeah, I think it's something to do with the Rumble rants. If you donate a Rumble rant, then I think it gives you that.
maybe a certain amount.
Well, hold on. A whale in the finance world means you got tons of money. So it means Brad Ganser is a whale.
Yeah.
Interesting. Hit him up for some more money, right?
Mm-hmm.
There you go. We deserve it with all the shit we take from that guy. Brad Ganser will be at the Christmas event, so come on down. We'll be back on Tuesday with Steve Boyd, the guy challenging Michelle Fischbach in Congressional District 7. Brad says the whale is a signal that I need to lose weight. Yeah, you and me the same, buddy. So, CD7's race for Congress, Michelle Fischbach versus Steve Boyd. We'll have Steve Boyd in here in studio. And then I'm so sorry to disappoint all you guys. We're just not going to be recording on Thanksgiving Day. Spend the day with your family fighting over politics. That's the good old American way, right? And watch some football. You know, the Lions are actually good these days, so, and the Cowboys are too. So you got two good games. So anyhow, thank you very much for tuning into this episode, and we'll see you next Tuesday.